Alright, people, what's up? So, I use James Bond to build my own character. So, first off, when you think about James Bond, what comes first to your head? That fancy suit, the girls, and that fancy sports car, which is a Aston Martin V8 Vantage on this picture. But all these things are just surface level stuff. It's it's just that. It's the front that you only see. But beneath that, there's so much more. There's so much more to Bond than what you see. Because there is something deeper that creates all these things. What I like to call the source. And it's pointing where his eyes are at. It's pretty cool stuff, and I'll explain more about it later in the video. But for now, before I even start, let me just introduce myself. I'm Priyanth, and a bit about me. I'm just some kid, some 20-year-old kid who is burning the bridge in school because I believe in self-education and less of traditional education. I'm someone who sees the world in a really unique way, kind of like a video game. So I treat the real world like my playground to build character because that's all I cared about ever since stopping all the extra ventures that I've been doing, starting personal brands, doing businesses. Like, that's one thing that I've learned after doing all those things. Character was my weakest thing, and I needed to get good with myself because only then I could move forward. Character is something that's slowing me down, and that's why I'm doing all this in the first place. So, without yapping, let's just start. So, first off, I'll just run you through the structure of the video. I'll start off with the traits of Bond, and afterwards how I applied these traits into my personal life and show you where I fucked up, where I learned, and what really came out with being Bond for a while. And then, third part, I'm going to reveal the source of everything that makes up Bond. All the surface level stuff and everything that you see when you think of Bond. And lastly, what you can do, and literally not really what you can do, but I'm going to tell you what to do with this breakdown that I'm about to do. Yes. So without further ado, let's start. Let's start with the traits first. Trait number 1, he never rushes. He always assumes that he owns time. Remember that. He makes the assumption of owning time. Once you make that mental shift, your behaviors naturally align with that. You naturally start to speak slower, you move slower, and people see that, and you feel it. And that's something Bond does a lot. And that's why he's so smooth with his physical presence. Like I said, he moves and speaks slower than everyone else. And also, he sits in silence like it's normal. In the movies especially, there are a lot of moments where there were awkward silences between the villain and Bond, and he just sits in it like it's bloody normal. In real life, a lot of us, when it comes to conversations especially, and in general reacting and interacting with things and people, we love to rush. We love to ask that next follow-up question, the next thing. It's always about rushing. But what if you just dialed it down a bit, reduced your speed, and sat and created silence to let that interaction breathe? That's something Bond does a lot. Next trait, he does everything with intention. Every movement is clean. How he lights his cigarette, how he holds his gun, how he moves his body. All his focus is on to one action. Look at this picture. Look at how his hands are like. They are placed with intent on the desk and whatever that he's doing. Look at how he reacts, interacts with Mrs. Moneypenny. That intentional lean. How he holds a hand. It's not just a body movement. It's so intentional. He puts a lot of focus into it. He feels her hand, I assume. Literally feels it. And everything is done with focus. Even this. See how he holds his stuff? It's not clumsy. It's professional. It's Bond. He does it with care. That's what it means to be intentional with how you move, how you react with things. Number 3. He assumes respect and never asks for it. It's similar to assuming owning time, but this time it's respect. Whenever Bond enters into a room of people, he already decides, oh shit, my bad. He already decides that he belongs in the room. He doesn't seek validation because of that. And because of these two things, people feel that shift and adjust to him. So he becomes the source of authority immediately. In real life situations, when you're, let's say, meeting new people, joining a club, or going for a party, when you enter the room feeling uncertain about whether you belong and things like that, anything that's related to uncertainty, people feel that shit. And once they do, they make a snap judgment about you, and that's it. That impression of who you could be is gone. And now you're just this lost guy. So whenever you enter a room, something to take note of is change your mental view of how you enter the room. That's something to take note of. As you can see in the pictures here, when he's playing poker, look at how calm he looks. Look at how intentful he places his hands. Look at that. Look at his face. Direct eye contact with Sylvia Trench, this lady over here. And he just looks like he owns the table with that many people around him. This picture as well, same thing. This guy's the villain. And look at how happy he looks. Look at his face. This is the look of a man when he knows he owns his space. That's what I mean by assuming authority. Now, number 4, comfortable with tension. He doesn't try to fix awkward silences. He doesn't try to resolve sexual tension. He doesn't flinch during threats, even though in terms of real life application, threats aren't really a big thing, but for Bond's case it is. And he really sits with that pressure and tension like it's a fucking Tuesday. That's the thing. Whenever there's tension or pressure that arises, to him it's a normal thing. He doesn't treat it like a bad thing, but it's more of, it's just another day. And that's also counted as how he views things. I mentioned a lot of viewing things, just remember that. Keep that in mind. So look at this picture. Bond approaching a pretty lady, and he just acts without thinking. There's a lot of tension between this interaction. If you put this in a real life setting, there is so much of tension between the guy and the girl. Mainly for the guy, because a lot of the guys are nervous approaching pretty ladies, myself included. But it's about just doing it, like what he's doing right now. He just acts without overthinking. He acts even though there's tension right next to him. Even this, he assumes the authority first and he just acts. He assumes authority, sees the tension, he acts. Simple. There is no overthinking, no hesitation, and that's why it creates a smooth interaction during that tension. And when you can do that, people see you as the more comfortable party. And once they do that, they lean in more towards you. And that's why Bond is Bond, because of this one trait. And even this, half-naked belly dancer right next to him. Bro is gesture. Look at the man. He acts like it's nothing. Something to take note of. Sits there like it's normal. Number 5. Detached but not cold. There's a big difference between being detached and being cold. When people think of Bond, they just picture this cold-hearted MI6 agent. But what I feel that makes Bond such an amazing character is not because of coldness. People confuse coldness with a detachment. He's detached, not cold. He doesn't try to impress, doesn't try to be liked by anyone. He doesn't try to force an outcome. This is really important. I'll explain more about that. He's not afraid to lose, and he's in the moment with zero attachment into how it ends. So I look at these pictures. Look how happy Bond looks. He sits in the tension, he's hanging out with pretty girls. And he's not really wanting anything, even though these are real pictures from Sean Connery. It's all about being present in the moment. Like even this. He's not trying to charm a girl. He's not trying to do anything. He's just having fun in the moment. Like that's the thing that makes Bond, specifically Sean Connery Bond, the most viable option for modern men to use as a framework. It's about being lighthearted while being detached. It's not about charming for the sake of charming. It's not about speaking in a certain way to get to a specific outcome. Like how Bond sees it, it's just, let's see what happens. That's all. He just does it. Okay, pretty girl, I see, let's go. Oh, bad guy, let's see, let's go. It's just direct with it. That's all. Not cold. He's still playful, he's still lighthearted, and that's why people love him. That's why girls love him. Even his villains fucking love him. Number 6, last point, last trait. After all that, this is kind of like the equal sign when you combine all these traits. But it's after the equal sign. He's dangerous but controlled. Bond is just Bond because there's something about him that people can't explain. He conceals things, he keeps things to himself, and this creates this aura of mystery. There's nothing loud about Bond, honestly. It's control capability. When you see Bond in the movies, there's just something about him that you know he gets the work done. He doesn't say it, but he does get the shit done. And that's what makes Bond such a powerful guy. He has skill sets, he has experience that not many people have. And that's something to take note of as well. It's not only character, but he has some sort of experience in the field. Now, moving on to the second part of the video, my personal experience applying this shit to my real life 2 months back. So what I did, I took these traits and did what most people do. I tried to perform them. So for example, I performed being witty. I forced the Bond walk in crowds. If you don't know what the Bond walk is like, it's this slight lean with the eyebrow lift with a slight smile. I performed it instead of embodying it. And then I also charmed women for the sake of charming, not to have a conversation. It was always about having an outcome. Like the things I said, the topics that I spoke about was for the sake of charming her. It wasn't being present. And all this came from acting just like Bond. When I saw Bond do this, I just copied and pasted what he did and did it without really thinking about why he did it and where that behavior came from. But what I realized after doing that was that performance came from fear. And that fear created collapse, internal collapse within me. So I'll give you some context here. I already have a natural, powerful perspective on life. It's a unique perspective on life. But because of certain situations that scare me, that natural perspective goes away. And what do? I start performing. I start reverting back to being Bond rather than being me and embodying that perspective. During times when things aren't so scary, my behaviors from that natural perspective come out. Natural confidence, natural charm, natural detachment. Movement becomes smooth and graceful naturally. It's because of how I see the world. That's when things are fine, but the moment pressure happens, when pressure comes out, I'm shit scared. I collapse. So there's some journal entries and some logs that I want to show you. So this is a BATE entry. BATE as in B-A-T-E. It's kind of a behavior acronym. Basically what it means is how you do one thing will result in how you do everything else in your life. So for instance, this BATE talks about how I force myself to perform when I'm around a lot of people. So forcing myself to smile in a certain way, to move my body in a certain way, so that people perceive me in a positive way. And this actually happened in the gym because I entered the gym, there were like 15 people, all of them whom I knew. And I was forcing myself to perform, to smile in a certain way, to say hi in a certain way, so that I'm not perceived in a negative way. But I couldn't help but not ignore the choice of just going in, assuming the authority that like I always do, going in with a calm, composed face, light smile, and going out. That's all. I didn't want to make that choice. Instead, I took the forced route. Simple behavior that I noted down. But it showed a lot because of that uncertain outcome of being perceived negatively. That fear was what made me collapse. And going back to the uncertain outcome, this is something that I want to backtrack to point number 3. Now, this is where the source lies. Bond's source. His source comes from his world view. Everything that you see from Bond is not just there, and he doesn't act, even though it is a fictional character. Every behavior that you see from Bond, his confidence, his charm, the way he moves, acts, talks, it comes from his worldview. He sees the world in a certain way that causes these behaviors to arise. And what does a worldview even look like? I'll give you my worldview literally so that you can understand. My worldview literally looks like this. I see what's actually happening. I see through people's bullshit. I see through the fake shit, and I see the system that I'm in. When I'm in interactions with people, especially those who are trying to prove something, trying to seek validation, and really putting their ego onto me. I see right through it. Because I was once that guy who was insecure, who sought validation for almost everything, who wanted to prove literally everything. I was that guy. And now when I look at people, especially a lot of high-level people and popular kids, I see right through them. I don't say it, but I just know it. They're trying to prove something. It's kind of sad, but that's what I see. Another example I can give you is when I'm in class, and I feel this every time, I don't know why. But it feels like I'm in a system. Everyone happily answering questions, so eager to participate in answering questions, raising their hands, so eager to get the class points. But what they don't see is what happens after school. Yeah, you're getting straight A's, yeah, things might be great. But what's after that? You get a job, you work your life away, and you don't realize how fast things are actually moving outside the world. There are people driving Lambos, Ferraris, living on the top, and not doing anything like what you're doing. They're not studying, they don't have good grades, and yet they're living a meaningful and full life. And that's what I saw. I saw something different. I saw a path that wasn't for me. I didn't want that 9-to-5 life. I didn't want to be trapped and become a slave. And it was more of a pushing factor. And that's what I see every day in my life. And because of this natural worldview, my behavior naturally comes from this. Confidence, charm, authority, these things naturally come from that worldview. I don't have to act, it just comes. And it's really similar to how Bond is, like how his character traits are like. Because of my perspective, because of the things that I've done for the past 3 years, gaining knowledge, experiencing things, doing things, it has formed an identity that comes only when there is no uncertain outcome. But when there is an uncertain outcome, let me just draw you a picture real quick. This is me, my perspective. I see the BS in life and the beauty. Outcome, which is the uncertain outcome. I'll put it right for you. When that happens, it outshines me. It outshines my own perspective. And then I collapse and I default back to Bond mode. That's when I start performing and doing all those things. So that's something that I hope you get, how worldview ties to everything. Yeah, let me just give you an analogy real quick before I end everything off. Worldview. Think of worldview like a common flu, like a sickness that you get. And think of confidence, well, the traits of James Bond, like the symptoms of a cold. Like sneezing, coughing, sore throat. They come from the cold. Can you act sick? Sure you can. But can you act like you have a sore throat? Can you act like you have a running nose, like a full-on running nose? You can't. Same thing with traits and confidence and authority. You can't do that shit. Worldview is the cause. These traits are the symptoms of the cause. That's what I need you to focus on, and that's what I'm focusing on. It's the worldview, man. If you don't have one, you have to build one. If you have one, expand it. That's when you transform character. That's when you build character. And once you have a solid identity and character, everything else in life is easy. Literally, no matter how hard it gets, because of that strong, powerful worldview, things will always work out for you. So to end off the video, well, this is part 4 of the video. I just want to show you what to do with this breakdown. Literally just tell you what to do. So first off, starting off with a statement, it's not about what Bond does. It's about whether you are performing or being present. Remember that. This breakdown isn't like a script. These are kind of audits for your character. And this happens only once you build that worldview. So only focus on this part once you have a worldview. So now for your action steps. For the next 30 days, I want you to jump into interactions. Pressure. Jump right into it and observe your behavior. So in terms of behavior, where did your heart race? Did you push for an outcome? Did you rush? Any behavior that you would think that after the interaction you would go like, fuck, why did I say that? Why did I act like that? Things like that. And you just note it down with this framework. This is the BAIT framework that I use. You go through the situation, what exactly happened. You don't have to be detailed with it like you're doing a bloody science experiment. Nothing like that. Just state the situation, what happened, that's it. Behavior. What happened internally within you? Note that down. Realization is what happened after the interaction, that fuck moment. Note that down. Lastly, fix it. What are you going to do to fix it next time when that situation happens again? Do that for the next 30 days, and I can assure you that you will improve your behavior and you'll slowly form a better worldview. So, to end things off, the more observant you are with your behaviors, the easier it gets to build a powerful worldview, which then makes character transformation so much more easy. That's all I have for this video. If you're still watching, thank you very much. And yeah, worldview over everything. Ciao.